Dateline November 15th, 1918, 5 o'clock p.m. The pilots of the Lockheed F-1A, during their transcontinental exercise, attempt a late afternoon departure from Gila Bend, Arizona. When 20 feet into the air, the right engine quits cold. Relief pilot Bob Furneaux attempts a belly landing in the sand dunes, but the plane comes to an abrupt stop, standing on its nose. Furneaux walks away with barely a scratch, but main pilot Swede Meyerhofer and mechanic Leo Flint are seriously injured. The plane is a total loss. In 1915, Lockheed brothers Malcolm and Allen founded their aircraft manufacturing company and set about designing and constructing a long-distance, twin-engine hydro airplane to be used by the Navy on shore patrol. When the Navy rejected their F-1 plane, the brothers creatively began converting it into a bomber for the Army. However, in 1918, they found themselves with an expensive bomber and nothing to bomb. The war was over. Once again, they redirected their energies, this time away from the military and toward civilian uses, particularly mail transportation. They planned a trial run for the F-1A from the West Coast in Santa Barbara, California, to the East Coast in Washington, D.C. Carrying a sack of mail, they would follow the railroad tracks and smoke signals produced by the Santa Fe and Southern Pacific Railroads. It would take an estimated 35 hours to complete the trip, including 2 fuel stops. The 2 pilots chosen were Otto Meyerhofer, known as Swede, and his student Bob Furneaux. Both were excellent aviators. Mechanic Leo Flint rounded out the crew. The trip seemed doomed from the start. Rain and mud delayed takeoff from California for 3 days. Turbulence, high winds, and dust storms over Yuma interfered with controls and navigation. Over Gila Bend, headwinds were too strong to continue. Upon landing, a cactus shredded a wing. The trio hitched a ride on a train back to Yuma for parts and spent the night. The next day, locals helped repair the plane and move it into position for takeoff. All was proceeding quite well until a fanatic in an automobile, racing alongside the F-1A, decided to swerve into its path and cut the plane off. Pilot Bob Furneaux blew a tire avoiding the car, and now the plane was poorly positioned for takeoff. After the crowd helped shovel a makeshift runway, the plane lifted off the ground. 20 feet in the air, the right engine cut out. Bob Furneaux tried to make a belly landing in sand dunes, but instead the nose wheel hit a dune and the F-1A upended with a jolt that caused a fuel tank to shift and crush Leo Flint. Bob scrambled down from his vertical perch and dragged Swede and Leo from the shambles that had been the front cockpit. Both Leo and Swede were hospitalized after collapsing from internal injuries. Swede recovered quickly and continued to fly. Leo's recovery was much slower, and he lost the use of one eye. 1920 census records show that he became an automobile machinist. The sack of mail that was carried by the Lockheed F-1A survived the crash and was delivered the old-fashioned way, by train.